All right. So I'll start this by saying that the information that we're going to talk about today is for business owners that want to grow a larger business. So it's not for one man bands. That's not to say it wouldn't work for one man band, but because, it would. But these problems and the solutions that come with them are much better suited for somebody who wants to build a team and build a business that can work without them and potentially maybe even sell that business one day if they choose to, or have it operating without them involved in the sort of day-to-day running of it, right? So it's more for that level and that minded type business owner. So what we're going to jump in with is the five trade business killers. And so this is what I've seen, after working with trades and other local service type business owners over the years. These are the five sort of most common things that get in the way and cause issues towards growth. So, number one is being reactive, not proactive. Now, the problem with being reactive is that time is never yours. So, let's say, for example, you wanted to grow your business, but customers keep calling you, you keep having, issues with team members. So then you don't have the time to create the business plan or the big marketing plan that's going to attract new customers to you, or really, have a chance to look at and review your finances to see that the business is heading in the right direction, those sorts of things. When you're always being reactive, it's almost like you're constantly fighting fires and it limits your progress, right? So, and that's the difference between being proactive and being reactive. When you're proactive, you can focus on growth, you can focus on strategy, you can focus on these things that are going to build the business. Whereas when you're reactive, it's constantly firefighting. So, have you ever heard the expression or the saying, work on your business and not in your business? Right? That's where this comes from. So let me give you a really good example of this. So let's say you're a barber. You're a barber. I know you're not a barber, but it's a really simple example that I know everybody will understand. So let's say you've got Barber A. So Barber A has a 10-hour working day. He spends 8 hours cutting people's hair, and then let's say about 2 hours doing a bit of admin, responding to customers, that sort of thing, keeping the shop clean, right? So just strictly barber. So we'll call that Barber A. Barber B is also spending 10 hours a day. He's also got a 10-hour working day, but he spends six of it cutting hair. So six of it on the tools and then 4 hours on the business. So here's on the business time. He uses, say, maybe 1 hour to create a marketing campaign to attract new customers. Maybe he spends another hour creating an attractive offer to encourage new buyers and new customers. And then another hour looking at the business's finances, checking profit margins, seeing, what products are performing well, that sort of thing. And then so he's got an hour left. So he spends, half an hour of that sending out an email campaign to all his existing customers to get them to come back more often and maybe even refer their friends. And then the final half hour, he spends training the team so that they can serve his customers better. Because if he provides a better service to his customers, he knows he'll get more word of mouth naturally as well, right? So you got those two barbers, you got those two options, both working 10-hour days. So both working hard, but working very differently within those hours. So after 12 months of doing this, who do you think has the better business? Right? The answer is obviously Barber B, right? And so now the question is, well, how do we go from being reactive to being proactive, even if you have a very reactive business, like, maybe you're an emergency plumber or some other emergency type business? So the first thing we'll do is protect your time, right? So we've got to select 1 hour, let's say. Maybe we can't do 4 hours like the barber can immediately, but everybody can do 1 hour, right? I've never met somebody who was committed enough that couldn't do 1 hour. So, firstly, we're going to protect that 1 hour. Ideally, You want to use this time or find this time first thing in the morning. And so you want to use this hour every single day to work on your business, not in your business. And so these activities would include things like, marketing, promotions, financial reviews, checking your profit margins, long-term planning, short-term planning, um, and then looking at the long-term sort of direction of the business, creating systems so that your business can perform better and more efficiently, providing tools and training for your team so that they can do their jobs better and more independently without you having to interfere, right? We can do all of these things in the hour across the week. Now, the question always becomes, well, what time can I find and what's the best time to find? Well, it's best to select the first hour of your day if possible, because you're less likely to get interrupted, because people will still be asleep at this point, right? So no one's going to bother you. Your phone's not going to ring. Customers aren't going to call you or text you. Hopefully the kids are still in bed. If not, wake up even earlier still, but the kids should still be in bed if they got a routine, And so if this means that you have to wake up an extra hour earlier, so be it. If you want to achieve these goals for your business, it's got to be done, right? So that's the first thing, is having that daily routine and protecting your time. Number 2 is the night before, decide specifically what you're going to do with this hour and write it down clearly so there's no confusion and no time wasted at all, right? So we want to plan the night before, write down specifically the action that you're going to be taking. So if it's an email campaign you're going to write, then write down email campaign between 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Those are the times that you're going to do it. Be really specific so that way you don't wake up in the morning and then waste half an hour figuring out what you're going to be doing, right? You go to bed knowing this is your mindset. And then lastly, and this is a big one, is just being consistent. Consistency, having that daily routine. This is something we want to do every single day, because these successful habits build successful businesses, and likewise, bad habits create bad businesses. All right. So be proactive, not reactive, to solve that one. So killer number 2, nobody knows you, right? To be more accurate, not enough of the right people know who you are. People with the ability, these are the people that you want, are people that have the ability to make a decision, people that have the ability to pay your full rates without, hassling you or trying to haggle you. And, the benefit of knowing and finding people like this is they'll bring other similar people to you that are like them, right? Now, the problem without really solving this issue, the problem that is created is there's always this constant state of feast and famine. The diary's full one week, it's booked and busy, on top of the world, everything's going great, it's all flowing in the right direction. And then you look into next week and it's empty, right? And then it starts getting closer and closer and closer. And then now you're scrounging around for work, right? This isn't really going to be, this isn't what you want. That's not how you grow a successful business. It's not, 1 week's good, 1 week's bad. You've got to have that consistency and that stability to be able to grow, which leads into point number 2. Because if you don't have stability, you'll be fearful of growing. You won't want to grow the team because you'll be scared that there'll be expenses that you won't be able to cover, right? If things get quiet. Now, once this is solved, once you've actually got more people knowing who you are, you'll, become the go-to guy in the area. And I've seen this so many times. Whenever people are having a conversation about your type of service, you're the name that comes up, and that's what you want, right? So that flow of work is just going to be constant and consistent. In fact, you're going to have more than you're going to be able to handle, but the whole way through the year, rather than just in fits and spurts and patches. And then lastly, the huge benefit that you'll get is people are less likely to haggle on price. So automatically it's going to make you more profitable because you're going to not have to discount. so much. Okay. Because once you become that go-to local expert and, your reputation's built, the word of mouth is growing stronger and stronger, and people know you as the expert, then the offshoot of that, all the benefits of that is you get an increase in demand. So now you're booked, fully booked. And once you're fully booked, the laws of supply and demand state that you can put your prices up, right? And people are a lot less likely to haggle on those prices because people know that to deal with the best, they've got to pay the best type prices. Like nobody walks into Mercedes and starts asking for a discount, right? It's just, they wouldn't. So how do we actually go about achieving this? How do we start getting people to know you more? First step is join the local events and local groups. If you've got a local business that's part of a tight geographical area or regional area, join the events in those areas and join the groups in those areas, whether that's online or offline. Second is join the events that your ideal customers are a part of, right? So think about who's the ideal customer, who would you like 10 times more of as a customer, and then where are they, what events do they go to, right? And then become a member, join those conversations. And then lastly, spend 1 hour every single week doing this. So going back to solution number one, point number one of protecting that hour of your day, in some weeks the hour may be doing this, should be doing this, and going and meeting more people so that you become more known. So silent killer number 3, all customers are coming from word of mouth. Now that's a really silent killer because it sounds like I'm saying word of mouth is a bad thing, but it's actually the opposite. Obviously, word of mouth is great. However, it's not a predictable way to grow a business, right? Your local Tesco or Sainsbury's or Waitrose don't just wait for the word of mouth to spread about their service. They do what? They advertise, they promote, right? They'll advertise on TV. They'll advertise on radio. They'll advertise in printed media. They'll advertise on social media. Now, of course, and they'll also advertise on local events and industry events. Now, obviously, you're not going to have the budget to be able to match theirs. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that for your business to grow sustainably and predictably, you need more than just word of mouth. Because really, if you think about it, word of mouth is just luck. It's just hope, isn't it? It's like you haven't necessarily created anything that makes it happen. You're just hoping that people are saying good things about you, which they don't always do. So you need a method where you can turn it on and off and it generates customers for you. And so if you get busy, you can turn it off to stop generating customers. But until you have something like that, like a mechanism in your business that does that for you, you'll always just be crossing your fingers and hoping people are saying good things about you when you're not there, right? Because if you think about it, think about your business like this. Think about your business like a tabletop. If you just have one leg, then it's unstable and it's constantly shaky, always off balance. And if you've got 2 legs, maybe it gets a little more balanced. 3 legs, still shaky, but a bit more balanced. But then when you've got 3 legs, let's move this out of the way, 3 legs on supporting your table, then it's going to be sturdy and balanced. And now each of these legs can be different marketing strategies. So, firstly, of course, you've always got word of mouth, but then we could put strategic partners in place. Maybe you're a builder that gets architects to refer work to you, right? And then you could also do email marketing and then Google SEO. Now, if any of these one strategies or tactics go away for one reason or another, at least you've still got 3 more to support your business. Whereas if you've only got one, then you're constantly at risk and constantly in danger. So to begin to stabilize your business, Let's start by firstly identifying ideal past customers. So, for example, let's say, like I said, you're a builder and you look at all your past projects and you see when customers come to you directly, the projects are a lot smaller. Maybe you're just getting the traditional extension, that sort of thing, with not much profit in there. But when the customers come through an architect, they tend to be twice the size. Maybe you're getting, entire builds, right? And they're much more profitable. And while, in this situation, it just then makes sense to start contacting more architects to be able to get the bigger, more profitable jobs. So that's the first thing. So then once you've identified who these people are or what they do, then we're going to go on social media and start connecting with them. So connect with them on social media, on Instagram, LinkedIn, all the platforms. Connect with people that are like them. Then meet them at local events, meet them at associations. Again, sticking with the builder example, maybe you're looking for architects and you go to REBA events, right? So meet them there. And then lastly, take contact details, have communications outside of the meetings just to deepen the relationship. Go for drinks, go for dinner, just deepen the relationship because people do business with people that they like, right? And so this works. It doesn't matter whether you're a builder, a plumber, a kitchen fitter, stonemason, a steel fabricator. It really doesn't matter what your business is. This principle still works. And I can show you, tons of examples of clients that we work with. So number 4, not having enough leads. So to clarify, when I say leads, I'm talking about appointments, inquiries, meetings. You might call it something different in your business, but essentially I'm talking about the very first time you meet a potential customer before they become a customer. So not having enough leads is linked very closely to the last problem we were just talking about of all customers coming from word of mouth. The problem with not having enough leads is you take jobs that you shouldn't take at prices that you shouldn't accept, right? So you end up taking, the wrong types of jobs that are a poor fit, jobs that, cause a lot of strain on the team and, maybe not be ideal for your team's skill set. And what then happens is you start to panic when you look at the diary and then see it's not full over the next few weeks. Now, if you don't have enough leads, then the knock-on effect is you don't have enough customers, of course, right? So you have a shortage of customers. And this is the number one reason why businesses are scared to grow, because they feel that if the diary is not full, then they can't afford a larger team. Now, having enough leads solves this problem. So the question becomes, well, how do we get more leads? So we get more leads by starting with the plan from number 3. So this plan over here that we just spoke about. So start there. Plus, you can do these additional things to really, really boost this. So contact past customers to ask for referrals and get more introductions to people that they know, because of course, referrals happen naturally, but they happen even more if you ask for them. And then next, post on social media daily. Start posting every single day. So when somebody's online looking for the service that you provide, you come up first. So then lastly, the final killer of a business is systems break as the business starts to grow. So what I mean by this is the different systems in the business tend to break. So what I've noticed is as the business grows, the admin systems fail, the admin systems breaks. And so communication with the customer and organization of the jobs and the projects and the standards start to slip. The client attraction system fails, meaning that you can't generate enough new businesses to sustain the larger team, which is obviously a big problem. The service delivery tends to break and the fulfillment systems fail, meaning the quality of the work starts to slip because everybody's doing their job slightly differently in their own different way, and things aren't uniform. And this causes lots of issues. Then next, the management systems start to break and fail, which means that, and this usually happens because the business owner is still thinking like somebody who's on the tools instead of thinking like an owner manager. So staying on the tools with that mindset, or getting off the tools with a on the tools mindset, is always a recipe for disaster, because management is a full-time job in itself, and to do it properly, at least, you're gonna need plenty of time. So if you're still thinking that people should just know what to do when you hired them, you'll always be frustrated and annoyed and end up just going back to being a small team or a one-man band. Now, not fixing the customer experience, is obviously going to mean that your reputation that you spent so much time building up is going to start to dip. So the problem is, these all create situations that kill a growing business, and they start to really sort of drain it and drain the business owner. The ability to generate new business, or not enough customers, starts to put a strain on the business, and then the quality of the work all starts to dip and fall away. And I've got examples of customers who have done, put these things in place and put these systems in place. And Angela here is a prime example of this. She actually took, I think it was either 4 or 6, somewhere in that, 4 to 6 weeks off work. And the company actually had its best turnover and profit since starting 7 years ago. And I could give you several more examples. This is Angela in Georgia. They both run Allegna Garden Services, and they've got these systems in place. They've got these systems around team, around marketing in place that enabled her that, when she had to take time off for personal reasons, that she was able to. And the business not only remained or sustained, it actually grew. And she came back to a business performing even better than when she left it. So if you'd like to learn more about how to fix these issues, then I've got a couple of free resources that I think will be useful. They'll be somewhere around this page. One of them is called How to Get Off the Tools for Good, and the other one is called 12 Ways to Boost Profits and Cash, which that one's like a 1-hour class that I recorded, and it focuses on boosting the bottom line profits of your business. So there'll be a link somewhere around this page, somewhere around these videos, to that, and I'll actually put a little URL on the screen so you know where to go to find these extra resources. All you have to do when you get there is put in your name and email address so that I can give you access to the content on my platform. Also, subscribe to my newsletter, the Next Level newsletter, in which, every 2 to 3 days, we'll put out some of my thoughts on, business, on marketing, on growth, on sales, on team building, those sorts of things, so that you can continue to grow your business without the guesswork and unnecessary trial and error. Hope you find that useful.